What up, cucks? It's your boy the Hater up in this piece, and we're gonna do a video that I should have probably done first. That's right, cucks. 25 reasons why Vince McMahon is the greatest. Alright, before we get started, take a moment to subscribe to your boy. You know what I'm saying? It's very important that you all subscribe. It appears to me, but who knows, that I'm going to, reach my goal of 5,000 subscribers by the end of the summer. This is a big goal for me, and I can't do it without you. So please subscribe and please help me out. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people didn't believe in the Hater. Technical Work Rate Productions being one of them. But look at me now, motherfucks. Look at me now. In only a few months, I've grown so much now that I'm taking it seriously. And it's obviously only a matter of time before I completely eclipse them and other people that didn't believe in me. But I can't do it without you. So, hurry up and subscribe. Now let's get to it. Reason number one why Vince McMahon is the GOAT. He invented wrestling, alright? That reason right there is alone enough to make the point. Vince McMahon invented the medium that we call wrestling as we know it today. I know it existed before him, and I know that other people have had their say in how it works out, but he invented it, right? He's the one who invented the product that we see on TV. Like when Tony Khan started AEW, he copied Vince McMahon. He didn't copy somebody else, right? That right there is enough for your boy, but we got 24 more reasons because that's how we roll around these parts. Reason number two, he understands that wrestling is entertainment, right? He never presented it as a real sport. He understands that the real draw of wrestling is not the athletic crap that goes on inside the ring. It's the stuff that goes on outside and around the ring, right? That's why Stone Cold, who did 3 moves his whole career, is one of the biggest stars of all time. Reason number three, he is responsible for the best time in WWE history where he was both the mind behind the booking as well as, of course, a very prominent on-screen character. Reason number four, a personal favorite of your boy. He defeated Ted Turner in the most glorious of fashions, right? Ted Turner, another billionaire, went after Vince, almost like a vendetta. They have like a big little rivalry going on, but Ted Turner thought he would crush Vince with money, but he couldn't because even though he was richer than Vince, Vince was Vince, motherfucks. Reason number five, and these reasons are going to go hand in hand. He defeated Eric Bischoff, right? He beat him in the ratings. He beat him as a promoter, as a booker, as a showrunner, as everything. He humiliated him. Reason number six, he defeated Paul Heyman in the same exact way as he defeated Eric Bischoff. Now, the reason why I put these two reasons next to each other is because I want to talk about this for a few seconds here, right? Once in a while, you'll hear like, I hope Vince McMahon hires Jim Cornette. I hope Vince McMahon advises, gets advice from Eric Bischoff. Oh, it would really be good if Vince McMahon listened to Paul Heyman because Vince McMahon is out of touch. Why in the hell would Vince McMahon listen to the people that he completely destroyed, right? He proved, that he's better than Paul Heyman. He proved that Paul Heyman has no idea what wrestling is all about, right? Paul Heyman has had zero success in wrestling. ECW was a colossal business failure. That's why you still have stories about Paul Heyman owing people money to this day. It was a disaster. Paul Heyman has some qualities that are good. Like he understands talent. Like he's not completely devoid of it, right? And a lot of it was money. But the fact is, Paul Heyman went too extreme. The Attitude Era was better than ECW because the wrestlers were better, right? I don't just mean the wrestlers were better, like in-ring performers. But at the end of the day, you're not going to convince me that the Sandman and Tommy Dreamer are going to be able to beat up, let's say, Val Venus and The Godfather, right? You also need the wrestlers to be believable. You can't just have New Jack tell you how tough he is, right? When I know that if New Jack got into a fight with Farouk would murder him in 2 seconds. You know what I'm saying? That's the problem with Paul Heyman and ECW at large, and that's why he lost. He thought that personalities were the only thing that matters, and Vince McMahon understood this, right? So when people tell me that, oh, Vince McMahon should listen to this guy or that guy, why? What have they done? He literally invented wrestling and became a billionaire out of it. How many people in the history of the world are there? Like, honestly, how many people are there that invented something, right? In this scale, right? Invented a global entertainment industry, right? And became billionaires from it by themselves. How many are there? Probably just Vince. So this idea that, oh, Vince is out of touch, you know who understands wrestling the best? Lance Storm, he really gets it. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, Vince McMahon's employees are below him in terms of understanding wrestling. They emulated their careers to be hired by Vince. You think like Edge and Christian, when they were like high schoolers in Toronto, you think that they were out there being like, oh, how do we like innovate? No, they were like, what the hell does Vince want? Let's become that so we can get jobs. And that's why it worked out for them and other people, cucks. Reason number 7. He was, and still is, if he comes back ever, one of the best characters of all time. The character of Mr. McMahon is, in my personal opinion, the best character of all time. He ranks above The Undertaker. He ranks above The Rock, Stone Cold, Hogan. He is the best character of all time in wrestling. And it's crazy that the best character, or at least if you don't agree that he's the best, I think most people would agree he's one of the best, right? It's crazy that a character of such high caliber was played by a billionaire owner who didn't need to do this. He could have hired like the guy that plays Dario Cueto in Lucha Underground. He could have just hired someone to do this, but he did it himself because he's a man of action. Reason number 9. The entire Vince McMahon versus Shane McMahon feud was awesome. One of the best feuds of all time, and that match killed. Reason number 10. The Vince McMahon versus Triple H feud was awesome, where Vince McMahon was trying to keep the dastardly Triple H away from his daughter. Great feud. And of course, reason 11, the Vince McMahon versus Stone Cold feud is one of the best feuds of all time, right? As a matter of fact, if you were to rank the top 10 feuds of all time, Vince McMahon would be involved in like 6 or 7 of them, you know what I mean? There you have it. Reason number 12, motherfuckers. Vince McMahon is a great businessman. Oh, but hater. He failed with XFL twice. Think about what you were saying. Yeah, of course he failed with the XFL. The same way that Tony Khan is going to fail with AEW and everything else that he decides to do when you compete against a giant in the industry. Vince McMahon's first failure was a failure. The second run of XFL, in my opinion, would have been successful if it weren't for the pandemic. But it is what it is. Nevertheless, this man is a billionaire, so he's obviously a good businessman. Reason number 13. He looked better than half the wrestlers in the 90s when he was in his prime. And 90s Vince McMahon, who was about 50, 55 years old, he would destroy 99% of the current roster today. Like, obviously, barring people like Omos and Braun Breaker and Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar and, you know, but that's basically it. I mean, I'm sure I'm missing somebody like Obafemi, maybe, like, you know, some of these guys that are like legit, like any you know, like Chad Gable will probably whoop his ass. Like, but beyond that, like, you think Finn Balor can beat up 55-year-old Vince McMahon? Fuck no, are you kidding me? Vince McMahon would whoop this guy's ass in 10 seconds. You think Sami Zayn has a shot? You think fat-ass Kevin Owens has a shot to beat prime Vince McMahon? Get the fuck out of here. Vince McMahon was more believable than most of the other wrestlers. In fact, Stone Cold went on record as saying that, like, he felt kind of like weird when he had matches with Vince McMahon because Vince McMahon was in so much better shape than him. Like, he would come out and you were like, oh shit, Vince is supposed to be scared of Stone Cold? Doesn't make any sense. But it is what it is. Reason number 14. He was amazing on the microphone. Obviously, one of the best ever on the mic. He doesn't get the credit, but he definitely is one of the best ever on the mic, motherfucks. Reason number 16. You're fired. That right there is a great catchphrase, and the delivery of it is amazing. That, along with many other things that Vince McMahon did, really add to his charisma, which we're going to get to in a second. Reason 17. The Ruthless Aggression era, another Vince McMahon product, was also awesome. Reason number 18. He was behind the Bloodline. So Triple H is going to get a lot of credit for that, but Vince McMahon, it's widely accepted that he was behind all that. Reason number 20. He is extremely charismatic. And I'll combine this with reason 21. He is extremely hilarious. Because I want to talk about this a little bit, right? Beyond the "you're fired." Beyond that, he also has the Vince McMahon walk, the zero tolerance thumbs down. He's got so many things. The Vince McMahon hard swallow, you know, where you see his like Adam's apple moving because he's nervous. All of that stuff just goes to show how hilarious and charismatic Vince McMahon is. You know, like the Vince McMahon walk, one of the greatest things to ever come out of like wrestling in terms of character work. That and all the goofy shit he would do when he would walk to the ring, he would be the cock of the walk because he is the cock of the walk. He's Vince McMahon. Reason 22. His entrance music was a perfect fit and is now iconic. No chance. Sometimes what you got. Then, no chance in hell. You've got no chance. No chance in hell. Think about how great that is, because it's your boss, right? Like, you don't have any chance against the boss, and that was the whole character. That's why he was such a good character. Reason 23. He humiliated the people that tried to ruin him. I'm not talking about, like Billionaire Ted, even though he humiliated him too, or Paul Heyman, but Eric Bischoff, who went out of his way to spoil the results of Monday Night Raw. This ended with Eric Bischoff being fired and then Vince McMahon throwing him in a dump truck, because that's how Vince McMahon rolls. Jeff Jarrett. Remember Jeff Jarrett, who fucking... I like Jeff Jarrett, but what he did to Vince McMahon was fucked. He held him hostage, right? He held him hostage. He held the IC title hostage and extorted like $300,000 from Vince McMahon. That's fucked up. You don't do that to someone that paid your bills for years and gave you a chance, right? He did that, and Vince McMahon said, Jeff Jarrett, you like to spell your name J-E-F-F, and now you are G-O-N-E, gone. You know what I'm saying? Fuck out of here. Humiliated his ass, too. Reason number 24, he came from nothing and is now a billionaire. That should inspire you to go out and do some shit. And reason 25, he is ambitious, motherfucks. He is ambitious. He's never content with what he has. He tries for more. He tries to start a competitor to the NFL. He's a pioneering streaming. The WWE Network is one of the first legit streaming services that are not just curators, right? So like before Netflix and Amazon and Hulu started making their own shit for real, Vince McMahon was like, oh, I already have my own shit. What if I make my own streaming service, right? And now that's been copied by like everybody else, by different networks, by different corporations, by Disney Plus. Vince McMahon is a pioneer in that too. So he is fucking awesome. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't take an opportunity to talk about the scandals of Vince McMahon and how they impact his legacy. Now, a lot of people are going to tell you that Vince McMahon's legacy is done just because he did this. Now, I am more of a fan of separating the art from the artist, right? Sometimes people that we love do things that we don't like, but they also produce things that are entertaining, right? A great example would be someone that I thought was an awesome person. Will Smith, motherfucks. Will Smith. I thought that Will Smith was a great actor. He's a great guy, I thought. He's charismatic. He's funny. He's a big draw. I like Will Smith, Will Smith was awesome. But then he went and slapped the hell out of Chris Rock in front of the whole world. And then after he did that, he was able to go, sit down, yell at him some more, win the Oscar, and move on with his life. He battered someone on national TV. What should have happened is the police should have came, arrested his bitch ass, and taken him to fucking county jail. That's what he deserved. But that's not what he got, because the rules don't apply equally to everybody. Now, I used to love Will Smith, and now I fucking hate his guts. I think Will Smith is a bitch. I think Will Smith is a cuck. I don't like him at all. However, I'm not gonna take that to a level where I no longer watch Will Smith movies. If I have the chance, I'm gonna watch Bad Boys because I like Will Smith's acting. I don't take my social cues from how to live my life from Will Smith, right? Similarly, I don't take my cues on how to treat people from Vince McMahon, despite the fact that he hasn't been convicted of anything yet, and the situation hasn't even been resolved as far as I know. So he might be completely exonerated, and he might be back in charge. Who the fuck knows? It doesn't matter. The point is, even if he did everything he did, right? All that means is that I have no interest in Vince McMahon as a human being. And I got news for you, pal. I never really had an interest in him as a human being. I mean, I thought he was cool because he did something that is very impressive, but I don't really give a rat's ass, right? However, everything that he has done is still something that he has done. Even a murderer, right? So, like, classic piece of shit scumbag rapist Harvey Weinstein. I think he was convicted of rape, but I think it was overturned, actually. Nevertheless, still a scumbag at least. Maybe not a rapist, right? But he was accused of rape by many people. He was accused of sexual harassment and a bunch of other shit, right? Rush Hour and Rush Hour 2 are two of my favorite movies of all time. I'm not gonna not watch Rush Hour 2 because it was, funded or produced, I should say, by Miramax, which is Harvey Weinstein's company. I don't give a fuck. I can hate Harvey Weinstein and still love Rush Hour 2. So that's the way I feel about good old Vinnie Mac. I don't believe that Vince is a bad person necessarily, because the situation has yet to resolve. But even if he were a bad person, I don't care, because I'm not modeling my life around him. I just want what he makes in terms of content, motherfucks. And it's as simple as that. That being said, I think that all the reasons that I gave are irrefutable. So take that and shove it up your own ass, motherfucks.